Welcome to MRE Uncut, where we'll give you real and practical insights into the real estate scene in Melbourne. We'll discuss what's happening in the industry, all backed by MRE's history of over 30 years in the game. With that said, let's jump into this week's episode of MRE Uncut.
Welcome back to another episode of MRE Uncut. My name's Stephen Fitzsimon, and today I have with me Keith Chen from MORC Interiors. Welcome, Keith.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Steve. Appreciate it.
MORC Interiors, what do you do? How do you fit into the world of real estate?
Yeah, so we're a Melbourne-based interior design and fit-out company that specialize in styling and decorating for owners who want to literally rent out their property furnished, or they want to live in it as well. And but working with you guys, we do a lot of rentals, and that's what we do, helping investors maximize their rental returns through beautiful furniture packages.
Yeah. So if we wind back, how long ago was it that you bumped into us? Or we bumped into you?
Eight years ago. You guys were the first agent that actually gave us a chance. So that was really awesome.
That's right. That's good. It's worked out well for our clients, and that's the number one thing. Yeah. So let's look at that sort of journey. 8 years ago, we've got a burgeoning sort of furnished rental market in Melbourne. Were you sort of targeting agents at that time, or were you sort of trying to do fit-outs for people at that time? What was the business doing at that stage?
Well, when we started the business, we actually thought we would be helping a lot of homeowners, like people living in the apartments and houses. People who didn't have time, we would help them save time by designing and finishing it for them.
Okay,
right?
Yep.
And then very quickly, we got our first Airbnb.
Okay.
And then we also got our first long-term rental.
Yeah.
And that was because we somehow got connected with one of your BDMs that then connected me with you. We met in your office. I can still remember. And then you said, all right, let's give you guys a shot. When we get the first property that would be worth furnishing and worth considering to, see how much rental we can get, how much extra, then let's explore that. And yeah, we did. Within I think it was 3 months or something. Yeah, so it's really good.
Yeah, so essentially owners that have got a vacant property that they've purchased or something like that can call you up and say, I want to furnish my property, and you can go out there, and in what time can you have it furnished?
7 to 14 days.
Wow.
Delivered, installed, rubbish removed, it's ready to rent out, tenants can move in.
Yeah, so that's game changing because let's face it, if you or I walk into a sofa store and go, hey, I'd like that sofa, when can I have it? The answer is?
Well, can be anywhere depending on the stock, but nowadays it can be, 1 to 3 months. Yeah. Depending on the item, depending on which store you go to.
Yeah, I was going to say 12 weeks. So it was 12 weeks for my couches to arrive. So that's where my mind goes. Yep. And I'm sitting there going, well, 12 weeks of vacancy, even if you'd bought it brand new, you're normally settling in 60 days. So that ain't 12 weeks. Nope. And then you've got to be organised enough to be thinking about it.
Yep, exactly. And most people don't even ask the supplier, is this in stock or how quick can I get it? They go, I really like that. I'm just going to buy it. And they'll need to realize, oh my gosh, it's going to take that long. Yeah. And then are there any alternatives? And the thing is, it takes a lot of time.
And then if you ask my wife, I have no taste. So, I'm colorblind. Yeah. I go, life is not good for me. So I sit there and I say, all right, having somebody who knows what looks good and how to create an environment that you walk into and you go, oh, this is pleasing, this is nice, is something that you leverage from. But that's not where your margin or your interest sort of lies. It's about the package, get it all done, and then the sort of skill set that you've got is that you're putting in stuff that at the end comes out looking nice.
Exactly. So there's a lot of things that you have to take into account when you want to furnish a property. Yep. Some people think it's just as easy as, all right, I'm just going to buy, this piece of furniture, put it in the property and done. But the thing is, there's so many things you have to think about. You have to think about, the style. Is this attractive? Is this what tenants are looking for? Is this the right size? Queen, double, king size, 2, 3-seater sofa, or how many dining chairs can you fit? And then you also look at the durability, the quality of the product as well.
There's one thing I wanted to touch on. That's obviously something that that investors are concerned about. How long is this going to last? We've been working together 8 years. Do you ever go back and have a look at a property that you furnished 6, 7, 8 years ago and see what it's like, or find out from the property managers how it's being kept?
So far, we've been lucky enough that we've never had to visit a property that's more than probably like 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
Because if we're working with an experienced real estate agent like you guys, and the property, the furniture is good, and then the marketing strategy is very effective as well, that you're attracting a premium tenant, chances are it just lasts longer. So so you put trashy
furniture and you get trashy tenants and it gets trashed.
Yep.
You put good furniture in, you get quality tenants and it lasts.
Yep. And we've actually asked tenants as well, like, what made you pick this property versus the other ones that were furnished? Because obviously they were looking for an already furnished product in the market, like at Montague Square, for example. We interviewed one of the tenants, right? And they could easily tell that, apartment A was DIY'd with stuff from, like cheap stuff, right? Yeah. I don't know if I'm allowed to say where.
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
They're like, you could tell that was from like Kmart. It was like something that would break in like 6 months.
Yeah.
Versus this, you could tell that it was professionally done. Yeah. And they just want a better lifestyle. They had a bigger budget to rent. And that's what attracted them to this, to the one that we did.
I think that's a big one. So the thing that we see in the marketplace is that if you've got a property and it's cheaply furnished, I throw Aunt Betty under the bus every time I do this, because I say if Aunt Betty's passed away and you get the furniture from Aunt Betty's house and you put that in that new apartment that you've bought in the city, right, that ain't going to work.
No.
And so then there's the second option, which is to shoot down to Kmart or shoot down to IKEA and pick up some furniture and put it all together yourself. But I've got IKEA stuff at home and they're good for 3 years. But those nuts that you tighten and then they untighten themselves because they're not right. They don't work. They're not durable, especially when you think that they're going to be used with people that are going to treat them as though they're renting them.
Exactly.
And so they need to be a little bit more durable.
Yep.
But they also won't pay a premium for them, which is where the product that you've put into a lot of our properties, the occupants, when they go there for the first time, they go, that's nice. I like that. That's a good looking, that's a good feel.
Yep.
And, let's be honest, if it lasts 10 years, it's done its job 3 times over.
Exactly.
Because, the math that we do is that you're looking at sort of between a minimum of $100 to $250 a week more in rent that you're going to get for the properties. And I'm talking about 1, 2 bedroom apartments here that you're going to get for them. And if they're furnished well with the complete package of items that tenants want, and they're presented to the market in the right way.
Yep.
And so there's a few components in that.
Yep. There's a lot of things that you have to really balance, and that's why I say it's more than just simply putting furniture in there. You have to make sure you think about all those things, right?
Yeah. And even today, like the client that we referred to you recently, I met with him today, and they were saying, Steve, but we haven't put in these items. And I was like, well, that's because the rental market here doesn't expect them. And therefore you don't need to include them. And but then why have you included these items? And I'm like, well, you picture yourself if you were going to be living in a different country for a period of 12 months doing a work contract, do you want to go out and buy, for example, a microwave oven?
Yep.
Right? Nobody wants to buy a microwave for 12 months.
Yep.
So you need a microwave in your rental property. But on the flip side to that, do we include the sheets and the towels? And my approach has always been you don't include the sheets and towels, because then the tenant who's the second tenant has to use somebody else's sheets and towels, which is a bit nasty. And the caliber of the tenants that we're looking for thinks that's a bit nasty.
Yep.
So it's better to just let them get a new set, and then they can donate them to the poor, or they can do whatever they want when they leave the place, or take them home with them. But either way, no one wants the second-hand stuff.
No, exactly. So the most important are the furniture pieces, and how it fits well in that space.
Yeah.
How functional the space feels.
Yeah.
How livable at the end of the day. Are they going to feel like, this is something that I could live for the next, 12, 24 months, right?
Yeah.
Something that they can really enjoy.
And be proud of.
Exactly.
And they pay a premium for that quality because as you say, and we've seen in the marketplace, you go into these places and when they're filled with crap,
you're just going to attract crap. You're going to attract like undesirable tenants who are going to be less likely to look after the place.
Well, they're bargain hunters.
Exactly.
And they're looking at this. And so I'll use another example I use. And do you know those big red sofas that are leather or what do they call it? Fox leather, FAUX.
Four leather, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, you get those ones that are like that and they've got the drink holders built in to the sides of the couches and like each couch takes up about 1.5 meters.
Yeah.
I don't like those couches, but I certainly wouldn't put them in my apartment. But we often see them.
Unfortunately.
In apartments. So I think one of the biggest things that we all need to take to heart or, be brave in saying that perhaps our style isn't the best style for the market.
Yep.
And that's something that I sort of look at. And if you're out there thinking, I know how to furnish a property or I don't know how to furnish a property, all you need to do is go on realestate.com, do a search for furnished properties and you'll see the whole gambit of trash, Aunt Betty stuff, red sofas with those soft drink holders, the whole shooting match, and it becomes self-evident to the informed searcher, the types of furniture that you need in there to be able to deliver the result. Because I think underlying everything here is actually being able to pay off that furniture investment and then make a profit on it.
Exactly. And so that's that fine balance of, you want to provide something good but not too expensive. You want to find something that's really cost-effective and durable, that's still attractive enough to appeal to the premium-paying tenant, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that people are more and more looking for nowadays as well in today's market.
Yeah. And so let's look at the space. So let's go, okay, I've got an unfurnished property.
Yep.
Okay. I want to furnish it. Will some locations work better than others?
I think from experience and from the case studies that we've seen, the CBD inner suburbs tend to work a lot better in terms of, like people are working, they're living close to where they work, right?
Yeah.
And so like CBD, South Bank, South Melbourne, East, North, South Melbourne, like those are probably the more better areas to consider furnishing.
Yeah, that's what we've seen in our data too. So it's interesting to get it from two sides. Like inner suburbs, no problems. Further you go out, not so much. What about around universities?
Universities, definitely. So we've been doing some around like Clayton, Caulfield. Bundoora. We've done in Heidelberg.
Okay.
Not Bundoora,
but that's close same crowd,
that was close to Austin Hospital.
Okay.
So that's another thing as well. So it's not so much sometimes just students, but you also have to look at like medical staff, like near hospitals.
Okay.
Because if they're doing rotation work, 6 to 12-month contracts, they can't be bothered or don't have the time to log to bring all their furniture, right?
Yeah.
So just to give an example, I've got a friend who moved down here to Melbourne to get married, right? And from Sydney, so it's better.
Well, it's better, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you can imagine every 12 months she had to move a little bit closer. I think the first one was like Wagga Wagga or something.
Right, yeah.
I don't know.
Middle of whoop whoop.
Exactly. And then it was Shepparton, and then it was Geelong, and now finally in Clayton.
Yeah, okay.
And that was every like 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
She's not going to drag and bring her own furniture.
No, okay. So that solves that problem as well.
Exactly.
So, okay. So we're looking at, if we're taking a self-assessment here, we're saying, all right, I've got an apartment. It's in South Yarra. It's in South Melbourne. It's in Carlton. it might be a good one that I want to furnish.
Yep.
Let's pitch on. We're looking at typicals here, right? So we're just to throw figures around.
Yep.
1 bedroom apartment, 50, 55 square meters, to make it furnished so that it is not the basic, but it's not super glam. What sort of dollars are we talking in 2024 to get that to being furnished and ready for the market?
Yep. So you're asking about the finishing cost, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So if you're looking at something basic for 1 bedroom, if it's just so if you're looking at with furniture, basic appliance, so fridge, washer, dryer combo, with basic small appliances as well, so microwave, toaster kettle, vacuum. I think that's what we tend to provide as well.
Yeah.
I think just those items alone, you're probably looking at around $8K plus GST. Thereabouts.
Okay. So let's draw a line in the sand and say $10K. Do you know what I mean? Like just simple, right? And then from our stats, we can tell you that if you're doing that, you're likely to get about $150 a week more in rent.
Yep.
So that's good. You're outlaying 10.
Yep.
You're getting back 7.5, almost 8 in your first year.
Yep.
So year 2, you're in front, and you can claim depreciation on your furnished stock.
Yep.
The biggest challenge is coming up with the 8 to 10K. The beauty about what we see from an agent's viewpoint in the product that you provide is that we get notice from a tenant and they give us 28 days notice.
Yep.
So we can call our client and say, hey, Mr. Rental Provider, I hate that word, landlord, you were getting $550 a week for this 1 bedroom property. Do you want to invest something in it to be able to boost your yield to $650, $700?
Yep.
And they can say yes. And effectively what we can do is day 28 comes past, tenant vacates, we do final inspection. Later that day or the next day, you're in there doing the furniture. End of the day or next day, you're doing new photos.
Correct.
And the advert goes on live. Yep. And you've got a whole new campaign for a new style property that's going to be able to deliver you ongoing returns of another $157,800 a year.
Yep.
That's going to be able to deliver that for you.
Exactly. Spot on.
We understand that doesn't work as well in all types of apartments.
Yep.
Can you sort of give us an insight into the styles of apartments that you see that working better as opposed to the ones that it is less functional? Or from your side, do you not sort of see much of a difference?
I think it really comes down to location most of the time, right? Location where the apartment is. Obviously, if it's close to services like, public transport, universities, what do you call, like hospitals or any corporate working areas as well. Those are like the desirable areas. Those are definitely worth considering. So even if you have an old or a new apartment, those are definitely buildings that you can definitely consider.
Okay, so not so important as to whether or not it's old or new?
No. So I think even more so for old, what we've actually seen the old is over time, if they've been struggling to rent out or they've been renting out at a really bad rate, something that's even below market because previously they had a tenant that trashed the place or didn't really look after it. And then they just want to still save costs when when the tenant moves out, is put it back on the market again. They didn't really do any touch-ups. It's got a lot of wear and tear. So it's quite old now, like talking 5, 7, 10 years. We've seen that by the time the tenant moves out, the worst situation that we've seen is when the property is vacant for even 6 months.
Wow.
And so at the moment, the agent recommends that they give it a fresh coat of paint. And maybe change the floorboards. Maybe it's fine. You just clean it, do a deep clean, and then put furniture in it. We were able to see like, $200-$300 increase. And not only that, you're able to find a tenant really fast in like less than 2 weeks.
You're exiting one market and entering another.
Exactly.
And that comes down to sort of like agent advice. What we see is that one of the biggest problems that we have with apartments are the small apartments.
Yep.
So if we've got a small apartment and it's unfurnished, then what we find is that the renters come in, they see the photos online, they go, "Oh, it could fit my stuff. I'm going to go and check it out." And then they turn up and they actually go, "Oh no, my couch isn't going to fit there."
Yep.
And so they're the ones that we sort of focus on having those conversations with those clients, because if you're going to have ongoing challenges in terms of leasing, then furnishing it can take it out of that tight rental market and put it into a new one, and then deliver the outcomes on that. So getting back on it, because I just want to cover off on this so that the listeners out there that are looking at it, if we were to math that out and go 2-bedroom apartment, how much more is it for that extra bedroom? Is it you're looking at like you probably need a bigger couch if it's a too big apartment, those type
extra
of things,
bed.
maybe a bigger fridge, those type of things. How much does it sort of put it on? If we're talking about 8 to 10 for the 1-bedder, how much are we talking for a 2?
Like a 10 to 12.
10 to 12. Okay, so it's not significantly more. No. Another little bit to go. And then I'd assume a similar step up if it was a 3?
3-bedroom is a little bit different. It still depends on the layout. Some 3-bedrooms you can only fit 4 dining chairs. You can't fit 6 when ideally you would like to have 6. So it really comes down to the layout. But typically for a 3-bedroom, you probably go for 12 to 15.
Okay, so you're looking at if your dining room table's bigger, you got more chairs involved. The cost
bigger sofa, maybe an armchair.
True. You can't just have a 3-seater if it's a 3-bedroom. You probably need a
exactly.
Wicked. Okay, so quick turnaround that works. Yields stack up. Works well. The one thing I just want to cover off before I finish. What do you think is going to happen in relation to the change in the level of acceptance for international students to hit Melbourne in the new year? Do you have any sort of insight as to where that's going to impact your business and the desirability for these furnished markets? Because let's face it, they take up a lot of the CBD stock. Yeah,
they do. To be honest, I'm not sure, but we have been getting a few mum and dad investors from Southeast Asia who are still buying apartments, or they've already have an apartment, and their daughter or their son are finally moving to Melbourne because they're going to study in university.
Okay, so they've gotten one of the spots. Yeah,
exactly. So we've been still getting those type of clients.
Okay.
Which is really good for us.
Yeah.
So that's where we see.
Well, it's a good sign for the market if they're still buying and they're still wanting to fit out.
Exactly. So. And they're usually buying close to universities, Melbourne Uni, RMIT. So CBD is quite hot. CBD and North Melbourne, even northern suburbs.
Uni zones.
Exactly.
Keith Chen, absolute pleasure having you in today. Thanks for
Steve.
stopping by.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Cheers.